俺に用か。
Alright guys, welcome back to the Dragon Guy follow-ups. This time featuring my beautiful boys edition. And you might wonder why that is. Well, basically I have a few things I need to go over before you get a full understanding of the tech in question here, so that's basically why this is. I don't know if this will become the regular format or not, but we'll see. So, basically the video this time is going to revolve around 66K, this move right here, the Dragon Step middle. Now, ever since this move was introduced in DOA3, it became a staple in Jann Lee's gameplay. Use this in neutral, use it in combos and setups, use this everywhere, basically. But what people don't realize is that the move has actually changed quite a bit ever since its inception, and throughout all the subsequent DOA games. So one of the things that people notice immediately when they start using Jann Lee and when they start using this move is that the move has this little recovery right here, right? So that little recovery right there where Jann Lee shakes, he has to beat Bruce Lee and shit, but that recovery was not always there. When the move was introduced in DOA3, it actually wasn't there. It had no recovery at all. You would just kick the opponent away and you could just chase after them. So that was naturally very good for him because you could just chase after the opponent and just put more pressure, so it was very strong. However, from DOA3 to 4, that little recovery right there was introduced. So of course, the move didn't become worse, but its utility did go down a little bit because you were obligatorily put in neutral whenever you hit with it, right? But again, from DOA4 to 5, there was a pretty big change, which was the introduction of Jann Lee's Dragon Stance. So with the Dragon Stance, it of course came with a lot of new moves, and one of those moves was this move right here, Dragon Stance DS6K, Flash Step Middle. Now, a lot of people don't realize is that this move is essentially DOA3 66K. And the easiest way you can notice this is that when you hit with the move, there's right there, there's no recovery. However, the differences don't end there. There's actually more to the move than meets the eye, so you can see right there the recovery is not there. That's already the first difference and probably the most important, really. But then, if you put this on block, you see that 66K, the regular version, is -4 block, -3 at max range. However, the Flash Step Middle is actually -3 regularly at any range, and at max range is -2. So that's really good, specifically in matchups where the opponent is slower than you. That's really good. And then, going either further in, you can see that the knockback of the move is actually greater than regular 66K, which is both a good and a bad thing in my opinion. And then the reach is also slightly bigger. Not too big, but you know, it's a change. And then of course it loses its close hit property, which is not really a big loss. So you generally would use this, and it is recommended to use this in neutral. Whether you just like quickly go into Dragon Stance and try to bait out a reaction of the opponent, or maybe like after a 6H plus K whiff punish. There's various situations where you can use this move, and it is pretty good because if it lands, you get basically free pressure after hit, which is really good. But now we're going to go into the main subject of this follow-up, which, as you can see in the title of the video, is post-wall combo pressure. So the way this works is you generally just do your wall combo, you go for the staple or something else, but basically usually ends with a variation of a 66K, right? And you get the regular recovery and stuff, so that limits your options quite a bit. But what I found out was you can get a wall splat, and most wall splats work with this tech. You get your wall splat, and then you free step into the background a little bit, you free step into the background a little bit, and then you do 6 PK. Now, one of two things happens here. You either kick the opponent to the side of the wall, giving you a side wall splat, or you kick them away from the wall. Now, this wouldn't be as impressive as it were for the fact that when you do this, either one, excuse me, the recovery on 66K does not trigger. You see right there, you get no recovery on it. So basically, after a wall setup, after a wall situation where you've already gotten pretty good damage, you can pressure the opponent even more. Now, generally, you want to aim for the side wall splat. Kicking them away from the wall is not bad. However, it's essentially as if you did it in neutral. You hit the flash step middle in neutral. However, the side wall splat leaves the opponent really close to you, so it's easier to pressure them there. But this goes into essentially the second step of the tech, I guess, which is more just dependent of the player, and this is essentially just the reaction part of the tech. Now, right here, this situation where you've kicked the opponent away, and you can visually recognize that you got it, whichever situation. Here you essentially have to really concentrate and react to whether the opponent tacked or they stay on the ground. After that, you essentially just have to adapt to the situation. If they don't tack, well, you can go for a 4-step setup or rush at them and then backstep to try to bait out a wake-up kick. And if they do tack, well, of course you have advantage, so you have to pick between, like, do you want to do a poke or like do a gunner, or maybe if they're really scared you can throw them. You know, it all depends on what kind of situation happens after that, like if they tack or if they stay on the ground. So that's basically it. In my experience, I found that people tend to tech a lot. Like 8 out of 10 people always tech when they get hit by this, so that just free pressure. Like, you just dash at them in whatever situation you get, and you do either a jab string or like a 6P, and it usually catches them and counter hit. So it's really good. It actually does work. I've tested it myself. It works in pretty much any wall situation, really. Even some danger zones give you this, but it works differently. So this is pretty useful. It's pretty good, and this raises the argument of like when you should use this, right? Because most of the time, especially with Jann Lee, you want to go for max damage because you don't get many chances to get damage with him, right? It's really hard to open people up with him. So my advice is just to use this when you're at the wall. You don't want to go for any fancy resets. You just want your damage or your pressure, and you have a comfortable life lead. Generally, the option I go for is 4 PP because it's the most multifunctional move that you have. Essentially, it will retract, it's a trim it, yeah, and it gets you either a launch or a good stun on hit. So that's essentially it. This also applies to matchups, of course, like heavy characters get knocked back way closer to you because they don't have as much air time, so that's also a factor. But I have found this tech very strong, very useful. I was looking for something like this, for a way to maintain pressure after you've already done your combo, and I think this setup is pretty serviceable. I don't think you should do this every single time. Again, there are some situations where you need to go for your max damage, but this is pretty good. This is pretty good in some specific situations. When you know your opponent is going to attack, or they like to press buttons, or like I said, you have a comfortable life lead, or you want to make a life lead back. So yeah, that's basically going to be it for this time, guys. I appreciate all the support. And like I said, I don't know if this will become the regular format for these videos, but we'll see. We'll see how this one does. So yeah, that's essentially it. Hopefully you guys find this useful. Let me know how it works for you, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.